The moment I saw her name, my stomach flipped. The brown Amazon box sat on my porch, but the label was not mine. It read, Mrs. Jane Roberts, 42B, Foxbury Lane. That was the house right next to mine. The same last name, a different first name. But Clarence told me that house was a short-term rental, empty most of the year. My hands were trembling before I even realized I had picked up the box. I do not know what I expected. Maybe a confused tourist. Maybe no one. But the second the door opened, the world tilted. A woman, late 30s, tired eyes, long chestnut hair pulled into a messy bun, stared at me. Her smile faded as her eyes dropped to the package. Then to me. "Can I help you?" she asked, cautious.
Hi. Sorry.
This got delivered to me by mistake. For Jane Roberts? Her expression changed instantly. Slowly, like glass cracking. She took the box with both hands. Then, very quietly, she asked,
Who are you?
"I am Camilla." "Camilla Roberts," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Her lips parted. A beat of silence.
Two.
Then her face went pale. "You are Clarence's wife." My heart slammed into my ribs.
Yes.
"We got married 11 months ago." She blinked fast. One hand clutched the edge of the doorframe. "Clarence is my husband," she whispered. "For 7 years." I could not speak. I could not move. I just stood there, frozen, as she backed up slowly and said the words that turned my world inside out. "You are not the first." Before I continue, I just want to take a second to say thank you to all my subscribers. You're the reason I keep telling these stories. And to all the new and returning viewers who are not yet subscribed, I cannot wait for you to hit that button. Your support is the energy that powers this channel and keeps stories like this alive. So do not forget to like, comment, and tell me what you would have done in my shoes.
All right.
Back to the moment my life shattered. My name is Camilla Roberts, and I live in a small, wooded neighborhood in New Hampshire. I am 32, a freelance graphic designer, and until that morning, I believed I had married the man of my dreams. Clarence Roberts was handsome, sharp, always polished. Said he worked as a regional executive for a pharmaceutical company. Always traveling. Always important. Our wedding was small, courthouse, just the two of us, because, as he claimed, his family was overseas and could not attend. At first, I admired his mystery, his independence. He said he was too busy for drama. But then came the weird excuses. Why I could not meet his coworkers. Why his office had suddenly relocated. Why his phone was always on silent at home. And especially, why he insisted that house next door was unoccupied. I ignored the red flags. Love makes you blind, but in my case, it made me foolish. When I handed that package to Jane and heard her say those words, I felt something twist inside me. Not just betrayal, something deeper. Like my identity had cracked. Jane invited me inside. Her hands were shaking as she poured tea. She sat down across from me at the dining table, her voice almost robotic. He said he traveled to Florida every other week. Always the same hotel, same schedule. I thought I had a good man who worked hard. My mouth went dry. That is what he told me, too. She looked at me, eyes glassy. "I am sorry," she said. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I finally understood the horrifying truth. I had married a man who lived a double life, right next door. But Jane was not done. She leaned in and whispered, "I do not think it is just us." And that was the moment I realized this rabbit hole might be even deeper than I thought. I confronted Clarence that night. He walked through the door at 8:23 p.m., later than usual. Same tailored blazer. Same fake grin. He leaned in to kiss me like nothing was wrong. I pulled back. "Who is Jane?" I asked. His face twitched. For 1 second. Just one. Then he smiled again. "Jane who?" "Jane Roberts. The woman next door. The woman who says she has been your wife for 7 years." He blinked, then laughed. Laughed. Like I was a child who had wandered into grown folks' business. "She is crazy, Camilla. I do not know what she told you, but she is unstable. That house used to belong to my friend. Maybe she used my name to get attention. People do weird things." His voice was smooth, like butter melting over a knife. But I had already seen the wedding photo on her wall. I had already seen the dog, the same golden retriever Clarence said had run away years ago. "Stop lying to me," I snapped. Clarence's tone shifted. Cold. Controlled. "I travel to keep this household afloat, Camilla. I give you everything. And now you are accusing me of what? Polygamy?" I stepped back, heart hammering. "I want proof. Show me your office. Introduce me to your coworkers.
Call your family right now."
He exploded. "Do not question me like this in my own house." His voice roared through the walls. But I did not back down. I had seen the truth in Jane's eyes. And now I needed to see how deep this lie went. When Clarence left for his next business trip, I stayed quiet, smiled, packed his lunch, like normal. Then I searched everything. Emails, files, hidden folders on his laptop. I found 2 different tax returns, one with my name, one with Jane's. I found a second storage unit registered under a different last name. Receipts from a bridal shop 2 years ago. Credit card charges in places he had never mentioned. And then a hotel reservation made just last month. For 2 people. In New York. A woman's name I did not recognize. That was when I returned to Jane. I told her everything. We cried. Not just for what we had lost, but for what we had believed. "I was loyal to a ghost," she said. "He told me that house next door was being renovated, that it was a project he invested in." We sat in silence. Then Jane pulled out her phone and showed me something that made my stomach turn. A Facebook post. Clarence, wearing the same suit he wore to our wedding. Beside him, a smiling brunette, holding a bouquet. The caption read, "Family reunion with my cousin Madeline. Always in my heart." I zoomed in on the photo. The background was not a reunion. It was a wedding hall. That was not his cousin. That was his 3rd wife. I was not number 2. I was number 3. And Jane was just as shocked as I was. "I want to meet her," I said. Jane nodded slowly. "Then let us bring her into the light." Because whatever this man thought he was hiding, whatever fantasy he built out of manipulation and lies, it was about to unravel. One woman at a time. Her name was Madeline Carrington, and she lived just 30 minutes away in a colonial-style house with white shutters and a garden full of pink tulips. She answered the door wearing a pale sweater and holding a baby. Not a toddler, a baby. The air left my lungs. Jane and I looked at each other, then back at her. I stepped forward and introduced myself, carefully, calmly.
"Hi.
My name is Camilla Roberts, and I think your husband is married to me too." She froze. The baby squirmed in her arms. Then she laughed. It was nervous, shaky. "You have the wrong person." I showed her the photo. Clarence, the wedding suit, the same hands he wrapped around all of us. Her face dropped. All the color drained. She stepped aside and let us in. The baby, his baby, began to cry. Madeline closed the door and whispered, "He said he was divorced." Jane sat down slowly.
No.
"He said he was married to me. And Camilla.
And you.
At the same time." That was when Madeline began to shake. We talked for 4 hours. Madeline showed us texts, receipts, a calendar of his business trips, the same days Clarence had been with me. The pieces locked together like shards of a broken mirror. 3 women, 1 man, years of deception. Madeline had no idea about us. She believed Clarence had a past, but not a present. She had just given birth to their daughter 2 months ago. Jane stared out the window. I wasted 7 years of my life on this man. I felt a strange mix of rage and power surge through me. We are not going to waste one more day. That week, we built our case. Screenshots, records, financial documents. We called a lawyer. Madeline filed a report. Jane had kept every email, every signed form. Clarence's name was on 3 different marriage certificates, all in different counties. Somehow, he had used slight name variations, middle initials, and jurisdiction loopholes to get away with it. Until now, we froze joint accounts, reported identity fraud, worked with the police. Then we set a date. A Sunday afternoon. Quiet.
Come.
We invited him over to Jane's house, said we were hosting a neighbor get-together. He arrived smiling, with a bottle of wine, walked right into a trap, because sitting there in the living room, side by side, were all 3 of his wives, and a baby on the floor. Clarence stopped cold. He turned pale. Sweat beaded on his temple. "Sit down," Jane said, her voice like ice.
He did not speak.
Not one word. I handed him the folder. Inside were copies of everything, the marriage records, the messages, the police statement. "You do not have to talk," I said. "The detectives will be here in 10 minutes." He tried to run, but Jane had locked the doors. And when the officers arrived, he barely resisted. He just sat there, broken, caught, like a spider in his own web. The aftermath was not easy. There were days I could not eat, could not sleep. The betrayal ran deep, tangled in everything I thought I was building. But I was not alone. Jane and I grew close. Madeline began therapy. I changed my last name back, started over. And now, every time I pass that house, the one that used to belong to Jane, I remember that I did not just survive a monster. I helped take him down. He is currently under investigation for bigamy, fraud, and financial deception. And while the legal process takes time, the emotional healing has already begun. Because sometimes the most powerful justice is truth, spoken out loud, together. Thank you for watching and listening. If you have ever experienced betrayal, deception, or felt like you were losing your sense of reality in a relationship, please know you are not alone. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think about this story. Do not forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep these stories alive.
Until next time.
Stay strong, stay aware, and trust your gut. It knows.